this hair down. All of it, because all I've got to show her is that I know how to use my razor. So I want her to be about shoulder length, and I use this this mannequin in case you bought one, that you would know what size your perm rods needed to be or what size curling iron that you were going to need. So I'm just going to cut it at a 0, and I'm going to cut the whole thing. Now, all state law says is that I have to cut 1 inch off, but if you take a mannequin like this, there's going to be no reason that you're not going to be able to see your guideline, right? This razor's dull. So you're going to want to make sure when you go to state board that you have a new razor in your razor, so it's going to be sharp. And do you know how to change those will be my next question.
I thought those aren't razors, those are just guards.
These in here?
Yeah.
That's what I thought last time.
They are just guards. Are they all just guards?
I don't know. I ain't never looked at them, but the last time you were gonna change your razor, you said it was just guard.
Yes, that's just a guard too.
Was that not another razor in there?
The guard's got a razor in it. When you discard a razor, it needs to go in the biohazard. It would not go directly in there. That's why you don't need to be doing that at state board. Oh yes, much, much better. So I only have to do 2 or 3 cuts with a razor. You have to palm your razor just like you would your shears.
You don't like. I felt like whenever I was taught it, it was like flipped over. You know what? So can you do it that way?
What was flipped over?
Like, I mean, it was like the hair was like, I don't know. Never mind. It was like in the middle of the haircut.
What was in the middle?
Whenever I did my razor. So, like, we can start off using it.
When we do it at state board, it has to be first. We have to show
Really?
her the first cuts with a razor.
Oh.
Because in the sequence list, it says razor first.
Does it have to be the whole, like, section, or just one, like?
One or two.
It needs to be 3 to 4 cuts so that if she's watching 5 people, that she's making sure that you palmed your razor and you did what you were supposed to do. If I'm doing a 90-degree cut, it's going to be this whole back section, which is what I just did. Now, discard, because we don't have a choice here. Now I'm going to start my 180. So I've done a 0, but now I'm going to start my 180. So I have to take at least 1 inch off, but like we've already discussed, we're going to be taking a lot more because I haven't done anything to her, but you can see the guideline very well. Can't go past your second knuckle, so it's going to take you a little longer than what you normally take at your 15 minutes. So if you can't see your guideline, you just push it forward. But if I want to be quicker with this haircut, and I'm at state board and I'm in a crutch for time, I'm just going to move vertically move to where I can cut it vertically. Palming your shears. She's looking at safety criteria right now of, is she palming her shears? Is she going past the second knuckle? But there's no doubt in the world where your guideline is.
Yeah, no, that's
So you would suggest, cause like I'm gonna have to buy a mannequin for state board,
Mm-hmm.
cutting it at a 0 the night before,
Yeah, or even before you leave school. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just trim it at the 0. Leave you enough to take an inch off with that razor, which is gonna be 1 finger, basically. And you could do a whole 180 haircut on her and just take 2 inches off. She doesn't have to be at a 0. But you're not gonna be wondering where your guideline is. So, couple different ways now. I could pull all this up to here and then do the sides, or I can go around in a horseshoe like I normally do. There's a no set standard on where you go from here to do a 180. So what I'm gonna do is just pull everything from the back straight up because I feel like that'll be quicker.
This way's different, I feel like, than Miss Tracy Young did.
And there's ton of different ways to get a 180 haircut. But the first cut's at 90 and the rest of the haircut's brought up to it, so it's why it's called 180. I could have started on the side, I could start in the back, I could start anywhere I want to. As long as I'm pulling everything up to this guide, that's all that matters. Palm your shears. Every time you've got to ask yourself, did I palm my shears? When you let the hair go, say, did I palm my shears? Because that's going to be your reminder to palm your shears.
It almost comes naturally to palm your shoes now.
But if you don't have a nice sturdy comb, you're not going to be able to pull through all this hair. Oops.
Yeah, I got like the packs of combs from like the dollar store or whatever, and they were not. They were. They're like so bendy and
Yeah. They're just
But
too
for my
It's a
haircut-
fancy.
420 cone that's
yeah.
not,
Yeah, right. A 420 comb will work. This one's actually a little sturdier than a 420,
I
but
ended
it's a
up just
heat
using the ones
resistant
out of my-
comb.
First make it.
So I'm just pulling everything up to my guide. And I'm still taking hair off of the ends. But if you cut it too short, you won't be taking hair off the ends. So you just, in a minute, I'll measure this and tell you guys what it is. Okay, now I'm just gonna go to the side. Now the side's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna pull it all up at 180, but I didn't cut it on the side. I only cut the back at the 0, remember? So I'm gonna have to go back and, well, we'll see if it's, going past that guide. So see, I've got about 3 inches there that I'm gonna have to take off. I can't just pull all this up.
So your top section is like where your shortest layer is gonna be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like when you first cut.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine on this bottom part after looking at how much I've taken off that we're about to see. Yeah, so it's gonna be fine, but if there's anything longer right here, I'm gonna get it whenever I do my perimeter check. Oops. So like I said earlier about the water bottle, make sure that just because you got a new water bottle doesn't mean it works properly. Test it out before you go to state board. This is a new water bottle I just got out of the bag. And as you can see, it's just got a little stream.
Wow.
I guess it's just a defect bottle.
Hmm.
So what the instructors are looking for is, are you going past your second knuckle in this haircut for your test here? And are you palming your shears? And that's the same thing that state board's gonna be looking for.
So you bring up all of the side? You don't stop at like the eyebrow or whatever?
You're not gonna stop at eyebrow when you go to state board, cause you're doing a full layered haircut.
Okay.
And if someone has nice, really thick hair, you wouldn't stop at the temples anyway. You're only gonna do that with, people who have medium to thin textured hair. If they want a true layered cut. If,
Can we have a day where like, we kinda, like, you would tell us like what each of us have, like texture wise? Because that's one thing I still have trouble with, is knowing, like, I know if someone has thick or thin hair, but like
sure.
medium textured and like stuff like that, it kind of.
And a lot of times people think people have thick hair, but it's really not thick hair. Or it is thick hair, but it's fine.
Like mine's thick but fine.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna go back to the middle. I'm at state board still. I'm gonna go back to the middle. And I'm not looking for anything to cut. I'm just looking for anything that I missed to make it even. So all I'm gonna do is take short to short right there. So right here, there's gonna be nothing to cut because that's all blending. Right here, I'm just gonna cut this small tip off.
Is that because you didn't trim your mannequin? Because those ends are like that, you know? Or is
Yeah.
that just the,
So the sides did affect us, cause whenever I pull this right here down, I've got to pull it to here. Now, I didn't straighten up that razor. If you're OCD, you're gonna want to. So that you got everything even. So I'm gonna change that up, start in the middle and the back, and go from side to side. So all I'm gonna do is go from short there to short here.
so wait, what did you mean by your sides affected?
I'll show you when I get to the other side.
Okay.
How long do you get what's the, what is the time, the cutoff time?
47 minutes.
Oh, there we go.
Can you ask them what time is left after you finish?
There's a clock on the wall.
You gotta keep up with
You
it.
gotta keep up with it. Okay. So right here on this side, see, we had zeroed that. But this right here came as long as it was and we pulled it up. But there's a disconnect right there, so that's gotta come off.
Oh.
And she's gonna be checking to see if you did a perimeter check, so you've got to work that perimeter check in here. And right here, we're just gonna go from short to short. I'm through with this haircut, but I need to leave my comb on the station because,
Will they use yours?
yep, you gotta produce her a comb.
Like your own comb or a whole nother one?
The same one you just used. That's for my extra bag, y'all. Now, I'm gonna wipe whatever big hair I see off that table, and then I'm going to disinfect